it's commonly used in web applications, other apps such as like Spotify, Twitter, and we use it on our team for programming our robot. And that's what we are going to be teaching you. We're going to be teaching you the basics of Java.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay, so I'm going to now screen share my screen, and can you guys see my screen? Is it showing? Yes? Okay. So, everyone, please head to Replit. Just type in, either search up Replit, Replit, and if you click on the topmost thing, this is what should show up. So it should either go here, you can continue with Google, or continue with Gmail and make an account there.
okay.
Did you guys see the accounts? Are you guys good? Okay. So, once you've made an account, log into your account, and I'm going to log in through my Google account here. Just give me a second, please. Bum, bum, bum. It's taking a while. Okay, so when you load in here, you should be at the home page. Is everyone there? Okay. Is everyone good? Okay. So now, Jacob, if you want to explain how to make a REPL.
Yes. Okay. So, to create a REPL, you're going to go over here to create REPL. And Replit has multiple coding languages for you to code in. We're using Java, like I said. So you're going to select Java for under template, and then right here you have the title, the name of the file, and we're going to do hello world. And then once you have your language selected and your name, you're going to hit create REPL.
Yeah.
Now,
You can feel free to title whatever you want. Just type in
yeah.
any name. Yep.
So when you do that, you should have something that looks like this when this loads. So it should look like this. There, on your side, or on your guys' files, there's probably a line right here that says something like system.out print line something. You can delete that line for now. It also probably doesn't have public, which is something you're going to want to add. Yours probably looks like this, and that works on Replit, but in other cases it doesn't, so you're going to want to put public and then boom. So from there, when you're coding, until you get more advanced and you learn how to use these differently and what they do, you're just going to have to remember that you always start off your code with public, class, and then the name of the file. In this case, it's main, as you can see right here. Then you're going to put brackets, and within those brackets, you're going to put this line of stuff, public static void main, string args, and then another set of brackets. That, for now, you're just going to have to remember that, or whenever you start code, copy and paste that. Or when it's in Replit, it's already there for you. Yeah, within those brackets is where you can put your code that is completely yours.
Yeah. Jacob.
Yeah.
Sorry, do you mind if okay. So,
Yeah.
if you guys are curious about the public class main thing, here's the way that I like to think about it. So, we titled the project whatever. In this case, the project is over here, and it is called Introduction. The class is kind of a smaller subsection of the actual project. So if you think about it, say a supermarket or a store, that the store is its own thing, but inside the store there are different sections. So things like fruits, drinks, vegetables, etc. The class is kind of the smaller subsection, which would be kind of something like fruits. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. In this case, the subsection being main. But yeah, once you have that, right here is where you can put your code. In the first, most basic thing of coding in Java is printing to the console. The console is this thing over here. Right now it's blank. This will basically print normally random information about your code. It'll also print errors when you're running your code if you have errors in your code. But for now, you can also use it. You can also code to print. It'll print things here, and as we advance more, you'll see a few other things we can do with this. But so to print to the console, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to put system.out.print ln standing for line. And then within parentheses and quotations, you're going to put the text that you want to print to the console. In this case, we're going to do hello world. Boom, boom. And you're gonna want to end every single line with a semicolon. Not these ones where there's brackets. Don't put semicolons. But anything else, you're gonna end it with semicolons. That's the way of telling the computer that that's like the end of the line. Otherwise, it's gonna be confused and think the line is continuing, but there's nothing, or it blends in with some other stuff. So you put the semicolons just to make it clear that that's the end of the line. Now when you run this, the console, it will print some random stuff about like Java. This is useless for now. And then here is what we printed. Hello world.
Wow. You guys learned how to print your first line of code.
Yeah. And Harrison, would you like to explain the exercise?
Yeah. So I'll just get started with exercise 1. So this is kind of a simple thing, but using what we've just learned, write a piece of code that prints out your name. So hint, anything that you put inside of these two double brackets, as you can see here, that is what's going to be printed in the console. So yeah, what you want to do is you want to replace whatever's in the hello world area. Oh, also something important to note that Java, other programming languages too, but Java is very specific about capitalization. So if I were to make this system.out.println, if I made this a lowercase s, I would run into an error and the code would not work. So make sure to use a capital S.
Yeah. What was that?
We still couldn't hear that. Sorry.
I was just letting them know that they can ask some questions.
Okay, got it.
How can they ask questions?
He said that he's letting them know that they can ask questions if they need help.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did everyone figure out how to print their own name? If you want to test out the code, again, click to the run, and you should see your name pop up over here.
Keep going now.
We're
Okay.
good? Okay. Nice.
Everyone got their name printed to the console? Great.
Well
Okay.
done.
Congratulations, you have written your first code. So next, what we're gonna do is, hold up, Harrison, could you get it to the
Yes.
data types? Yeah. So you're gonna want to create another REPL.
Yeah.
So go to create REPL, select Java, pick your name, and then we'll continue from there.
So I'm just going to name this data types. Were you guys able to create a new class or new file? Okay. So now Jacob is going to explain data types.
Okay, so here, again, you're gonna want to delete that random line that says system.out.println hello world. Delete that from your files. Also add public before the class. But the next important thing in coding is variables. It is used in basically all code. And it's a way of like storing information in the computer that can be recalled later in your code. So there's four main data types. There's integers, there's doubles, there's booleans, and there's strings. There's other data types as well, but they are not as important for now. So the first data type is integer. Does anyone have any idea on what an integer might be? You can raise your hand to answer this question. I just realized this might be actually difficult. Actually, what was that?
She's asking a question.
Could you type whatever you said in the chat, Jess?
Can you repeat your question, Jacob?
Oh yeah. So the four main data types: there's integers, doubles, booleans, strings. What do you guys think an integer might be?
Yep. Just a hint. It has something to do with math.
Yes. Yeah. Should I just explain what it is? Or what did you say?
Just go ahead.
Okay. So, well, an integer is any whole number. So any negative number, 0, positive number. It cannot be a decimal. So it could be like 1, it could be -3, it could be 251, but it cannot be 251.3. It can't have decimals in it. So this would look like, to assign it, first of all, you would put the name, so in this case A, and then an equal sign, and then whatever you want it to be. So we're going to go with 11. So the int A is now assigned to the number 11. A double is very similar to an integer, except for one thing. It can have decimals in it. So this could be 235.64. Don't forget semicolons at the end of each of these lines as well. And also before each variable, you're going to want to have the data type. So in this one, int, it's int, double, and then, yeah.
Yeah, basically,
Boolean.
sorry.
What
Basically,
were you gonna say?
if you don't have the data type in front of it, so int a or double, the computer's not going to know what you want that value assigned to. So it's very important.
Yeah. It's not gonna know what type of variable, and it's gonna get confused. Boolean, there's only two options for what Boolean can be. Boolean can be either true or it can be false. We're gonna make this one, we're gonna assign this one to true. And then string, a string can be any line of text or anything. It has to be in quotes. Same as when you're printing text to the console. If you're saving text to a string variable, you're going to want to put it in quotes and then put your text. So in this case, I'm going to put hi. Hold up a second. It's going to be hi. I am. Whoa. I am Jacob. So this string is now assigned to hi, I am Jacob. So now that we have these variables assigned, what happens if we run them? Wait a second for it to finish running. And you'll notice it's finished and nothing has happened because all we did was assign these variables. So they're just in the computer's brain, or the app's brain, whatever. Like the code knows these things, that A is 11, B is 235.64, that C is true, and that D is hi, I am Jacob. It knows that, but it's not doing anything. But you can use these to do things in code that comes afterwards. For example, one thing you guys have learned is how to print something to the console. That's outside of the variables, that's still what you've known so far. So I'm going to show an example of how you'd use variables with printing to the console. So if I were to say print A, I would put system.out.println. And then unlike previously, where we put quotation marks, if we were to put quotations and then say A, that's just going to print the letter A to the console. And we don't want that. Whoops. So we don't want it to just print the letter A to the console, right? We want it to print out what A is assigned to. So after this finishes, so see, it's printed A. So we don't want the quotations. We just want to put A. That'll print whatever A is assigned to. And now if we run this, it should print this number right here. Boom. As you can see, it is printed out what A is assigned to. Now we can do this for all the other variables as well. So if you copy and paste that and then put B, C, and D, now it will print out A, which is 11. It'll print out B, it'll print out C, and then it'll print out D. So we're going to run that. And then it should print this out. And here you go.
Yep.
Here are all of those variables. Now, another cool thing you can do with this is, say you were to have maybe a calculator or programmed a calculator or something, right? And you wanted it to print out something that said the answer is, and then it would print out the answer. That answer, when you are making a calculator, it would be saved to a variable. You'll see this later in this lesson, not today, but in a future lesson. So if you were to do that, you would save that answer to a variable, and then you have to print out that variable. So if you wanted it to say the answer is that, you'd do it by starting the same way, system dot out dot print ln, and then you'd put the answer is, then you're going to put outside of the quotation marks plus, and then you put that variable. Note, this is outside of the quotation marks. If you just put is and then plus a, it's just going to print the answer is plus a, which is not the answer. That's weird. But also keep in mind, you have to put a space right here in between is and the quotation mark, because otherwise there's not going to be a space when it finally prints it. So it'll say like the answer is, and then immediately have the number. So if you want that space, you're going to have to put it right here. It kind of looks weird at first, but you get used to it after a while. So if we run that, we haven't taken this out, so it'll still print all of this, and then underneath that it should print. Oh yeah.
Semicolon.
I ran into an error. I forgot the semicolon. That's
It's a test. It was a test.
Yeah, it was a test. But yeah, now it should print all of this, and then it should print this interesting line at the end.
Also, I want you guys to notice the order in which the way it's being printed. So
yeah, it is being printed from top to bottom of what's in here. Yeah. But yeah, as you can see over here, it's printed the answer is, and then it printed out 11. Pretty cool. So as Harrison noted, you should pay attention to how it's being printed out. Like I said, it's from top to bottom. So that means that this, if I were to say put a equals 15, that would cause something interesting. First of all, I already assigned to a, right? So with this int, so the computer now knows that a is an integer. If I'm referring to it again, I don't need to put int. So in this case, I can just put a equals 15.
So what happens if you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you guys think is going to happen when I run this code? Will this print the answer is 11? Or will it print the answer is 15? I'm going to run it, and you guys can see if you guys were right. It's taking a while to think. Here we go. Okay, so as you can see, up here, it printed the number 11, right? And then right about here, after this, in the code, is where we changed a to 15. And then after that comes the answer is a, and it printed the answer is 15. So if you change a variable partway through the code, it will go with, and then you use that variable, it will use whatever the most recent, whatever it was most recently assigned to. I believe that was all. Are we? Yeah. Would you like to explain the exercise, or is there something else you want to add?
There's integers.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Integers.
But real quick, do you guys have any questions on data types? Was there a question, or are we good? Okay.
Okay.
So now, again, I want you guys to exit, go to the home, and then go to create REPL, Java, name the file whatever you want, and then press enter. So now we're going to get into integers. that is the first data type that Jacob mentioned, but we're going to be getting more specific.
Okay. So, integers, as mentioned in the last one, integers are whole numbers. You could also use doubles, as those are also numbers. In this case, we're going to be using integers. But there's 4 main operators in math, right? You guys know the 4 main operators: addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, right? So I'm going to assign these variables to random numbers. Here we have x. This will equal 6. Actually, yeah, we're going to keep that as 6. Y.
Semicolon.
Oh, yeah, don't forget the semicolon. Semicolons are coder's worst nightmare. Y is going to be assigned to the number 4, semicolon. And so, okay, so now we have these variables, x, 6, y, 4. We can now make another variable. It's going to be z. And we're going to assign this not to a specific number, but rather to a combination of 2 variables. So we're going to have x plus y. So we're going to have it print look. We're going to have it print the variable z to the console. And what do you guys think this is going to print? Is this going to print just x plus y, or is it going to print the product of these 2 numbers? Sum, not product. Whoops, I didn't do that. Yeah, I'm gonna run it, and you guys can see if you guys were right. Whatever you guys guessed. What? Oh, shoot. Okay. So you guys may have noticed there's an error, and that error being the fact that this is supposed to be in parentheses, and there's supposed to be 2 brackets here. Boom. Okay. Now that error is fixed, we're gonna run it again. It was a test. It was a test. You guys were supposed to guess that was gonna happen. No. Okay. Here we go. You'll see it printed the letter 10, number 10, not the letter 10, which is the sum of 6 plus 4. You can do this with any operator, so we can do subtraction. So if we do x minus y, we will get x minus y, so 6 minus 4, which is 2. You can also do this with multiplication, so 6 multiplied by 4, which will get you 24. And then you can do it with division. Actually, in this case, you can't. So, because if you were to divide it, you would get 6 divided by 4. And since it's saved to an integer, well, actually, you guys will see what happens. It prints out 1, which is obviously not what 6 divided by 4 is. The reason it printed out 1 is because 6 divided by 4 really equals 3 over 2, which is closer to, which it can't print because that's a fraction, right? And it's saved to an integer. So it just rounds to the nearest whole number, which in this case is 1. But you could do, say, if we were to change y to 3, then it'll print out the right answer. Boom, 2. 6 divided by 3 is indeed 2. You can do other things as well. So you don't have to do just 2 variables. You could have multiple things going on. Let's just add 7 and see what happens. Oh, whoops. There we go. Now it is printed 6 divided by 3 plus 7, which is 9.
We already kind of we can
that was
still.
all? Yeah. Okay. And now Harrison,
Yeah.
you're gonna explain the exercise, or? Is there anything
Yeah.
else?
I just want to ask, do you guys know why the sum or this turns out to 9? I don't know if you guys learned about orders of operations, but the way it works is division and multiplication go first in terms of the operation of math that they do, and then 7 is being added to it. So hopefully that clarifies things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jacob, you could also do things
Yeah.
with parentheses, right?
Yes, that's true. That's true. So, as Harrison just explained, order operations says division and multiplication go first, and then addition and subtraction last. But say you wanted it to do addition first, in this case, so let's say you wanted it to do 3 plus 7 and y plus 7, and then x divided by that, you would put that in parentheses, and that would and so that now it'll do y plus 7, and then it will do x divided by whatever that is. Let's change this to a number so that it makes a certain number so it makes sense. We'll change x to 10. Okay, so now if we run this, y plus 7, which is 3 plus 7, equals 10. And then if we do 10 divided by 10,
Yeah.
you should get 1.
Okay. Jacob, I'm going to cut you off real quick. Shrihas, are you there? The meeting has less than 1 minute, so do you want me to restart the meeting, or can I restart the meeting?
Yeah, restart the meeting.
Okay, sorry. Jacob, were you going to add on to anything else?
No, that was all. You can explain the exercise.
Okay. Do you guys have any questions about the mathematical operators in Java? Yes.
The question is, can we add exponents?
You add exponents. That is something that actually we're going to learn on the third day, maybe the second day. But there's something exponents you can't do, like like you have to do some import other things, which is something again we'll get to in later lessons. But in the end, you will be able to do exponents in your code.
For now, if you wanted to say square your variable, you could do something like you could set another variable, so int z is equal to x times itself. And you can repeat that however many times you want to, I guess, square it. But as you can see, if you want to square things to a higher number, of course, writing x times x times x times x, that's not going to be very efficient. So we'll be getting into a more efficient way.
Yeah, that will be later.
Yep. So if I run this code, it'll print out 100, which is 10 times 10. Any other questions? Yeah. Are we good? We're good. Okay. With the remaining time that we have left, we're going to get into some kind of exercises to get, I guess, to review the material. So over here, the second thing I want you guys to do is write a program to calculate the sum of two integers. You can declare the values for the integers. So if you want to do something like 10 and 5, 6 and 4, anything you want, just make sure to print that value out. If you finish early, you can, again, do things like subtraction, multiplication, division, or the squared version of it. Okay, so I'm just going to, if you didn't get it that's okay. But if you did, it's great. So I'm just going to get into, I guess, the sort of solution for it. We'll just see if it loads. So the question was, write a program to calculate the sum of two integers. So here, of course, public main, public static void main, string args, those are both things that you just need for every single code. Inside that code, I declared two integers. So an integer x equal to 5 and an integer y equal to 10. Now, those numbers could have been anything. You could have chosen 2 for x, you could have chosen like 5 for y. As long as you have this, as long as you have something that's declared to those two variables, you're good. And then the last, but the most important statement is the sum of the two variables. So you should have something that looks like this. Int z is equal to x plus y. And what that does is, again, you're adding the values of x and y, so 5 and 10. Then lastly, you need to display that result to the user. So here we have system.out.println z, and once we run that code,
This is a very important part of coding.
patience.
Waiting for
And
everything
we
to
get
work.
15, which is a sum of 10 and 5. Okay, any questions about exercise 2? Okay, cool. Alright, so the next sort of exercise is I kind of have a bit of a problem here. So let me zoom out real quick. So over here, you can see a car drove 100 kilometers total in the span of 2 hours. Write a program to calculate the kilometers per hour of the car. Hit set an integer kilo and an integer hours, and set kph equal to the kilometers per hour. And another hint is that rate is equal to distance divided by time. So if you want to use that kind of formula, you can incorporate that in your code.
Harrison, we're good to go.
We're good to go? Did everyone?
Yeah.
Okay, wow, that was pretty fast.
That was fast.
That was fast. All right, so I'm surprised. I'm impressed.
Yeah.
All right, so just going through it again, if everyone got it, here's what the code should look like. Sorry, the variables aren't accurate to the problem, but it's the same thing ultimately. So here we have an integer kilometers, an integer called hours. We set those equal to the ones in the problem, so 100 kilometers and then 2 hours. And then we set kph, we set an integer kph equal to the kilometers divided by the hours, so the distance divided by the time. And when we run that,
You
we'll get
will get an error.
that guy.
You're gonna get
Oh,
okay,
sorry.
so the error is that he put kilometers per hour when the name of the variable is kph.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
So
also
yeah.
a common thing in coding is if you change the variable somewhere, you gotta make sure you change the variable everywhere.
Yeah. Because this right here, kilo per hour, it does not exist in the computer's memory. So it has no idea what I'm trying to print over here. So now, if I type kph,
And we give it a second to think.
we get 50. Okay. So the last exercise for today, I want you guys to find the area of a square. So assume that one side of a square is 5 meters long. Write a program to calculate the area of that square. Of course, if you need help with that, feel free to ask any questions. If you finish early, try thinking about the perimeter of the square. Do you guys know what area and perimeter are? They do?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Alright, how's everyone doing? Are you guys good? Are there any troubles or?
Yeah, we're gonna go first.
Okay. So, just in case you didn't get it, here's what the code looks like. So, I'm going to set an integer x equal to 5 because that represents one side of a square. Now, if you don't know, all sides of a square are equal. So, and the area is equal to length times width. So, if this side is 5 and this side is 5, I just have to multiply those two. So here, I set an integer y equal to 5 times 5. Or what I could also do is x times x, and that will print out the same thing. Now, when I print out y, I'll get 25. But if I wanted to add a string, here I add double quotes, and then the message I want to put, and then a plus symbol, and then the integer y. So if I run this, I'll get the area of the square is 25.
And also something too, you may notice that it doesn't have unit. You can add text after the variable as well. So say you wanted to say the area of the square is 25 meters. It was meters, right?
Yeah, meters.
Yeah. So yeah, you could put another addition sign, and then quotes and the remaining text that you would like to put. And now if you run this and let it think through this super complex math, it should print out the area of the square is 25 meters.
Also, if you wanted to, you don't necessarily have to store the area in another variable. It's just more convenient if you store it in another variable. So
Yes.
what I mean is, if I really wanted to, I could do system.out.println and then x times x. And this will give me the same result. Oh, wait. Sorry.
What's the error? Oh, yeah.
I'll put this in comments right now. Sorry. And as you can see here, it prints out 25. It's the same thing as you would get before. The problem is just that if I wanted to save the area of that square in another variable somewhere and use it for something else, I wouldn't be able to do that with just this.
Yeah. Also, you may have noticed, right? We had it. Yeah, the area of the square is y meters, right? And it prints out that statement with whatever y is. If you've ever played a video game or something, and it says your health is, say your health is 100, like max health is 100, and you had something like at the top of the screen, it says your health is this, whatever, and say it says 70, or maybe it says 60, maybe it's 42. That uses variables. So it'd be something in the code. It would look something like this. It would look something like this, where it says, right, in text, your health is, and then it would print out the variable, and then whatever. And the reason it would do that is because the variables obviously can change, and through the game, things will happen. A series of statements that, like, say if you get hit, in this game that'll be -5 health, right? And so that can always be changing. I don't know if that makes any sense, but basically the reason you would do something like this is if the number is something that changes or is dependent on outside, dependent on things that could change, you're going to want to put a variable so that it can adapt to that, if that makes sense. It will make more sense too in later lessons if it didn't now. But
yeah. I think real quick, you guys might have noticed like the green stuff on the previous notes. Those things are called comments. So you can do a comment by a double slash. And now you'll see it's green. So basically what that does is it hides it from the code. So whatever is in this green, while you can see it on the compiler, it's not going to show up on the actual console because the computer is not going to read it. So if I run this, it's just going to ignore the statement.
you can do this. Say if you wanted to document in your code, so like have a comment that explains what's going on.
Yeah. So like
in your code. Yeah, like that. So just so it's like so anyone else going through your code can understand what's going on. It can help sometimes you if you have long thing of code to quickly find pieces you're looking for. You can also use it to, like in this case right here, like where you're just commenting out some code. If you want to remove code to test something out, but you don't want to really remove it yet, because if you delete it, you might need it back later or something. If you just want to remove it temporarily, you can put that in comments as well so that it won't read it, but then you can just get rid of the backslashes if you ever need it back, and then it's there.
also, the single slash or the double slash only hides lines. So it only hides this. If I wanted to add another thing, it's not going to hide whatever I put here. But if I wanted to hide multiple lines, what I can do is I can do a slash and then an asterisk. And then under the area I want to hide, I can do another asterisk and a slash. And that will hide the whole section. And you can do that wherever you want. So I can put it here, or I could put it like here.
Yeah. And I believe that is all for today. Is there anything else, Harrison?
I
That you had?
don't think so. That wraps up day one. I hope you guys enjoyed this sort of introduction course to Java. Yeah. All right.
Thank you, Harrison. Thank you, Jacob.
Welcome.